Have you ever woken up in the morning with that uneasy feeling in your stomach? Not quite sick, but not exactly well either? You sit on the edge of the bed, rub your eyes, and wonder, why do I feel queasy again? Maybe you skip breakfast, sip a bit of tea, and hope it passes. But deep down, it bothers you. Odd nausea. Like something's off. And here's the surprising part. It's not always about what you ate the night before. In fact, for a lot of us over 50, that morning queasiness can come from things we'd never think to blame, like stomach acid building up overnight. Not enough to cause heartburn, just enough to stir up that sickly sensation when we wake up. Or maybe it's how we're sleeping. Lying flat on your back can let acid creep up toward the throat, even if you never feel it burn. You just wake up feeling ... off. Not to mention, if you've been skipping meals late in the day, your stomach might actually be a little too empty. That can trigger nausea too. And don't get me started on medications. So many of us take pills in the morning, for blood pressure, for cholesterol, for joints. And some of them can irritate the stomach lining just enough to start your day with a twist in your gut. These causes are sneaky. They're not loud or dramatic. They show up quietly, like a tap on the shoulder from your body saying, hey, ... I need a little more care. And once you start paying attention to these smaller signs, you begin to see that morning nausea isn't random, it's a message. Now, once I started putting the pieces together, I began noticing how much my daily routine played into those early morning stomach flips. For example, I used to drink a cup of coffee before anything else, even before brushing my teeth. It was like a morning ritual. But coffee on an empty stomach? That's a recipe for a queasy ride. Caffeine, especially first thing in the morning, stimulates acid production. And if your stomach is running on fumes, no food, no cushion, that acid can irritate the lining and trigger nausea before your day even begins. For me, all it took was switching up the order. A banana, or even a few crackers before the coffee, made a world of difference. And then there's dehydration, something we don't talk about enough. You sleep for 6, 7, maybe even 8 hours without drinking water, and your stomach is dry. Your body is dry. That can mess with digestion and leave you feeling lightheaded or slightly nauseous when you stand up. A glass of warm water before anything else can calm your system in the gentlest way. One more thing I never realized until I spoke with my doctor. Low blood sugar. As we age, our ability to regulate sugar drops a bit. Skipping dinner or eating very little the night before can cause your blood sugar to dip by morning, and for some folks, that low can bring on nausea, even if you haven't noticed dizziness. So yes, while morning nausea can feel mysterious, it often has a very practical explanation. And more importantly, it has solutions. Once we start treating our stomachs with patience and paying attention to how we wake up, things can start to shift. Once I began making these tiny changes, drinking water before coffee, adding a small bite of food in the morning, even adjusting how I slept. That strange wave of nausea that used to greet me at sunrise slowly faded. It didn't disappear overnight, but it became quieter, less demanding. Like my body was finally saying, thanks for listening. That's the thing about our stomachs. They were not trying to make our lives difficult. They're just a little more sensitive now. After decades of doing their job, they deserve a bit of gentleness in return. And often, it's not about big changes or expensive solutions. It's the small, thoughtful shifts that make the biggest difference. If you've been waking up with that uncomfortable, hard-to-describe feeling, you're not alone, and you're not imagining it. Your stomach may simply be asking for a softer start to the day. Something warm, something nourishing, and maybe, just maybe, a little less coffee on an empty stomach. Take a moment to tune in. Ask yourself how you're waking up, what you're reaching for first, and how it's making you feel. Because when we stop pushing through discomfort and start responding with care, mornings get lighter, gentler, even joyful. If any of this resonates with you, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Share what's helped you or what you're struggling with. We're all learning together here. And if this video gave you something helpful, please give it a like and hit subscribe. There's more to come, more stories, more support, and more simple ways to take care of your gut without the stress. UVA made it this far. Your stomach deserves to feel just as steady as you do. So here's to calmer mornings, healthier habits, and living your best life at any age.